Dan Lawrence shit. Fuck you, Tim.
What a start.
What a start. Welcome back, everyone. Back here in the beautiful QT studios, the five of the back crew, although only four of us this time. We've got, obviously, myself, Ben, will be your host today. Regular contributors, Ashneel and Jim. And also we've got, I think, first-time contributor, Tyler. Welcome, everyone.
G'day.
Morning.
How are we all doing?
Yeah, look, not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Not many VVD updates.
or cater updates. Either.
Liverpool transfer talk. Let's be real.
I can't deal with any more of that, honestly. If even just in the group chat, if I see anything else just anywhere, it's like, well, Chelsea have shown interest again, or Man City want him now, or look, Celtic want him. Maybe I'll go back there at this rate. Who knows? Well, obviously, Premier League comes back this weekend. We're all very excited after months and months of finding other things to do other than watch football because there's been nothing on. Lots of things have been happening. Obviously, we've had some teams have had more busy transfer windows than others. Looking at you, Tottenham. So we're all very excited to get back stuck into it. Everyone's made their fantasy league teams and hoping they're going to win this year. To start off with, probably just going to have a look. I'm not sure we'll look at every team. We're going to have a look at maybe the heavyweights, the contenders we think that'll be up there towards the end of the season, and have a look at what they've done in the transfer market. Who we got first up?
Got Chelsea right here if we want to start with the rent boys.
Right.
Yes.
Yep, let's do that.
Obviously coming off the back of a Premier League championship last year, no Champions League football obviously made it a bit easier for them just to concentrate on domestic football. This year, obviously they've got European football to think about. They've made some signings, but it's really only been to cover outgoings. It hasn't really been to strengthen or deepen the squad, and I think that's what Conte's probably worried about. And watching the Community Shield game the other night probably shows that. Like, you've got Morata, who's come in, probably maybe as a replacement. We don't know what Costa's doing. I haven't even seen him for months. You've got Bakayoko, who's come in for Matic, who's gone to Manchester United. You've got Rudiger, who's really come in to replace Zuma and John Terry, if you think about it, because Terry's gone to Aston Villa on a free, and
Zuma's on loan at Stoke, isn't it?
That honestly, I couldn't fathom that, because you've got a team that's going into a Champions League season. You're going to be playing 2 domestic cup competitions, your domestic league and a European Cup competition, and you're letting players like that, who would usually slot into the first team bar someone being injured, go. What do they think? Like, does Conte get a say in any of this, or what?
It's just a strange summer, I think, because you can sort of see the friction between Conte and the board sort of come out. Because like, reading about a month or two before the transfer window kicked in, you're saying Conte wants to sign Van Dijk as a centre-back, so you're going big, or Alaba and Sandro were the left-back targets, and Bakayoko. So, I think he wanted to go a lot bigger, but then you're settling for like Rudiger and like who was like
Bakayoko, Caballero, and Morata.
Yeah, because like the number of transfers they've lost out on that they've targeted, like obviously I think Lukaku was the big one. Strange how it happened, wasn't it?
Because literally swooped from under their noses.
And like coming into the transfer window, Lukaku was Chelsea's top target, and Morata was United's. And then they just switch and get others.
Did a switch.
And I don't know whether this, is true or not, but Lukaku was saying probably maybe even a month before the transfer was even announced that he already knew where he was going and stuff was sorted. I don't know how much you can read into that, whether the Morata to United was all just paper talk, but it was one of those transfers that, like, all the paper talk was about Perisic to United, Morata to United.
Fabinho to United.
There was very little on Lukaku coming until that story broke about, 1 or 2 days before the club actually announced it.
Agent Pogba.
We need to get him doing more work, honestly, to sign some players.
Well,
but it was
if he can't do it on the field,
we'll leave that for another time. But look, in saying that, the players that Chelsea have signed aren't bad. They're very good players. Caballero is a really good pick-up on a free, considering City paid, how much from Malaga a couple of years ago? He's a very good goalkeeper.
Caballero's just come in to replace Begovic, because Begovic is on his way to Bournemouth. Well, has gone to Bournemouth,
I know that. Like, even though they're all just sort of replacement players in a way,
they're still very good.
You could argue
players.
that they're possibly an improvement. on the same position, but they don't have the depth.
Yes, because you looked at the Community Shield and their bench, and coming off, they had no one because Hazard's injured.
Without Hazard, they had no creative.
Yeah.
It was really sort of like Pedro was trying really hard, and he got stuck in there until he got sent off. That was so stupid.
He had impaired vision. With Batman mask, to be fair. I mean, that seems to be Chelsea's thing.
Might even bring in the kids. Was it Bogger and who's the other one? Masonda.
Masonda was on the bench for the Community Shield game, though.
Yeah, I think he came on. Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting to see how they go this year, and I think when we get later on to our predictions for the top 7, that way may well be reflected in where we've put Chelsea finishing. Probably we can move on now to everybody's favourite club from Manchester.
Can I just make a mention about Chelsea's outgoing transfers?
Which one?
How many bloody people have they let go?
Well,
just on loan.
Most of them are on loan.
Like on loan.
Loftus-Cheek is a big one to Crystal Palace.
Again, that's another one of those really silly ones where he's a very good squad player, would be very handy to have in like the Champions League groups obviously haven't been drawn yet, but if they get an easy group, he'd be someone you'd want to throw on there and give game time to. League Cup, FA Cup.
Yep.
As is Chalabar to...
Exactly.
Watford.
Was that permanent? Is that a permanent or is that a... So, we'll let Jim talk about that in a little bit later on.
It's
but
Ake's out as well to Bournemouth.
Ake's going to Bournemouth.
That's a lot of young, good players.
I mean, when they're getting money from them, I understand it. Like with Ake, 20 million is 20 million.
But they haven't done anything with it.
It's like Chelsea's two different clubs. It's like Chelsea FC and Chelsea Outgoings
and
Chelsea Reserves or Chelsea Loans. But look, how many players have they got? That's almost a full 11 that they've got just out on loan.
Mate, you can make 2 11s with all the people they've sent out on loan and sold.
I don't know who makes it. Obviously, Conte doesn't get a lot of say in what's going on.
No, and
with the
because
transfers.
the hierarchy were pissed off with him too, because he texted Costa to say, "You're not in my plans anymore. You're leaving."
Next season,
and they
he might be regretting that soon.
Yeah, but now they
are you doing anything this season? You want to come back?
Can you play centre back?
Yeah, but because they got Murata in, but they don't have the other forward or winger or whatever. So
I mean, Batshuayi might get a little bit of game time now.
But I think he would have gone too. But now they have to keep him. They have to start him.
Been forced to start him, and Murata, hasn't had a lot of game time in pre-season, so it's very hard to judge him just off that. But he hasn't looked sharp. Whereas you got someone like Lukaku, who's only played 3 games, but he still looked. He didn't quite look like he was off the pace.
And they brought him. They didn't bring him in yesterday, Murata. Like he's been there a little while now, but he's not fit, and he's not going to be fit, I think, for the first few weeks. So
relying on Batshuayi as a first striker for
How long is Hazard out for? How long is he out for?
Not that long. I think probably 2-3 weeks at the most.
So you're going to have what? Assuming they go with the 3-4-3 again, you'll have Pedro on one side, and who's going to be on the other? Who's on
Willian.
the other side?
Has to be Willian.
Yep.
Yeah.
To be fair though, I think Willian will be extremely important for them this season. I think he's always been a really underrated player for them.
Yeah.
He came in at the time. I think he was linked with United at the time when Chelsea got him, and he's never he's never been someone that sort of, he's not like a Messi or Ronaldo where he can just pull shit out of his arse. But he's always been consistently very good at what he does.
Kind of like a Conte, but on the wing.
He's been very, very good. He's a good Chelsea got a shitload of set piece takers as well. So he can hit a free kick. Luis can hit a free kick. So you've got that variety there in terms of that. But I just think Willian himself may not be as highly valued by people as he should be. I think he's made more contribution to that team, particularly when Hazard's not been there. It's ultra important.
It doesn't have a date on when he's expected back, but he will miss the start of the season, according to Conte, as will Bakayoko. So.
Oh, is that a fitness thing?
Been injured for a little while.
Yeah, it's a knee, I think.
Oh, beautiful.
And Hazard's his ankle.
Okay, so now that we've come to the conclusion that Chelsea could basically start 2 new football clubs and that they're rooted for this season, let's move on to a team that's maybe slightly not as in trouble, and, well, depends who you support.
Not as likeable.
Manchester United. Obviously, we get, myself and Ashneel being supporters of the club, we get to every transfer window, we sort of brace ourselves for the barrage of every player in the world linked to us, including some random person from the Bulgarian 7th Division that we've never heard of before.
All the way up to Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh,
And Bebe.
Yeah.
and Wesley Sneijder, who has now moved to Nice, so we can no longer. sign
Oh,
him.
don't worry, he'll be linked to us in the next
No.
window.
Look, he probably will. But the thing that I'm happy about is, like Mourinho said, we're going to make 3 or 4 signings this window, and we've made the signings in positions that needed filling.
Yep.
We got Lindelof for 31 million, who's come in from Benfica.
Yep.
We needed a ball playing centre back. We've got that. Hasn't looked amazing in pre-season, but maybe he'll warm up to it. He's still young. Might have just been a bit nervous. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we mentioned Lukaku coming from Everton to 75 million with Ibrahimovic injured / maybe re-signing / don't
think
know /
Very up in the air.
with
Yeah.
no idea.
Very up in the
So, although if Ibrahimovic does come back in January or whenever he gets back from his knee injury, we're going to have a lot of good depth in the squad up front now, which is something that we didn't have before that. Obviously, having Rashford there, being more played out wide at the moment, seems to be something that we like to do at Manchester United, is play players out of position, playing
Young as a striker was
We're
the
very
one
used
that
to
comes
that
to
at
mind.
Arsenal.
playing players wing, or playing strikers at wing, playing midfielders at left back or whatever. That's Man City, sorry.
You're going to need that depth now that you're going into the
Exactly.
Champions
Now that
League
we've got the
instead of
Champions
Europa
League, we
League.
need that depth, and I think that's the difference that we've had compared to someone like Chelsea. We've brought in players, but we haven't let. I don't think we've let many go. We've retained the bulk
Apart
of
from
the squad.
Wazza.
Not going from
Apart-
was
the
he even
big
really there
ones-
last year anyway?
The big ones are Rooney and Januzaj, but like
Again, Januzaj was
wasn't-
already
wasn't
already
gonna
out
get
on loan.
games.
Fucking extinct.
Januzaj was
He was-
already out on loan at Sunderland.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Rooney was there and got a couple of penalties and a couple of tap-ins
and
probably
an
a
amazing
couple.
free kick
Yeah,
against Stoke.
his record-breaking goal. Was it?
Dude,
Yeah,
that
and
was
probably picked up a
ridiculous.
few yellow cards as he does as well. But we've had that central midfield position is not one that we've really been short on. And now that we've brought in Matic as well to play in the middle, we need Ashneel and everyone else knows how long I've been harping on about the fact that we've needed a defensive midfielder.
I think everyone.
Been years now. hasn't it?
It'll really
Yeah.
release Pogba because he didn't have a bad season, but he's not a defensive midfielder.
No,
he's
he's
a lot more creative than he is defensive.
And you saw
so-
in the Euros when France played that midfield 3, and they allowed him a little bit more freedom to get forward and link up with Griezmann and whoever else is playing either side of him. You can see that's when he was at his best.
He's got Kante
Absolutely
running around
dominated
everywhere.
that game
And-
against England as well.
And it's probably not the best comparison to make, but I think it was the last game of the season against Palace?
Palace.
That game, even though it was only Palace, we threw out the kids, but he showed what he can do when he's got that freedom to play in the midfield. Because he absolutely ran the show for the first 45 minutes until he got subbed off.
Yep.
He made, I'm not putting, the kids played really well,
Harrop had
but
a
he
pretty
made
decent game.
I reckon he made them look a little bit better than they probably were. Just because of the amount of control he had over where things were going. He single-handedly had, the game on a string. And you could see the difference when he got pulled off at half-time. It wasn't quite the same. So if he can do that in a full-strength team with, Matic, Herrera, Lukaku, all those guys around him, I think, it's very hard for us to be optimistic because the last couple of years have always been, oh, look, we're going to be good for 2 or 3 games, then we'll have a shit run, and then we'll be good, and then we'll draw at 1-1 at home because Ashneel came to the pig and whistle again.
He seems to have that connection with Lukaku already, which is what you want. It's like that's why Sanchez carried Ozil last year, and they have that connection where they just know what each other's doing, and
I think
I don't
Lukaku's
like
going to have a good year. Like, I wouldn't have rated him maybe as high as even Murad. I don't know. But started really well. I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be a good season for Manchester United, unfortunately.
That's coming from a Liverpool supporter. You heard that first, ladies and gentlemen.
And you look at the fixtures, like West Ham at home, Swansea away,
The
Leicester
first like
at home.
6 or
you
7 fixtures are really strong.
And then I think the first sort of big
Big
one
game.
we got, I think, is against Liverpool in October
Away
Yep.
at
at
Anfield.
Anfield, so it'll be a boring
October,
brawl.
right? Yeah, but
But
you have the
We'll pop the
opportunity.
boss.
You have the opportunity to set the pace is the thing, and
Yeah.
I think Mourinho teams are pretty good at that. So if you do take advantage of those games, then should definitely be in the title challenge conversation right up there.
And talking about Lukaku as well, he was in probably, I don't think mediocre is the right word to use, but he wasn't in a great Everton team last year, but he still managed to get 24 goals.
Yeah,
And
but
I don't think he was.
He didn't even get in the team of the year. I think he was second.
I don't think he was Fiddle's. I don't think he was Fiddle's season.
Misses out every season.
I don't think did Lukaku miss some games because of injury, or was he playing most of the year?
I know he went on a bit of a goal drought at the end.
Yes, he tends to when he scores like 2 or 3 in a game.
And he scores, but he doesn't do that much else. But I think maybe that's what United want anyway. I don't know.
So if he's scored 24 goals in a team, arguably, that's they're not fantastic Everton, but they're not great. Put him in a team like United where he can get service from someone like Pogba in the midfield, Herrera, Mkhitaryan, Martial, whoever's playing that left hand side might be Lingard.
Even Rashford.
Exactly. You put him in a team like that where he's going to get good service.
It's a lot more than getting just service from Morales.
Yeah.
Ross Barkley.
Yeah.
Leighton Baines.
Yeah.
But I don't know how Ashneel feels, but I'm feeling a lot more positive than I did last year.
Yeah, look, I'll say I'm a lot more positive, but I'm also quite sceptical. Just given the amount of times where we had chances last season but didn't finish with Ibrahimovic.
Well, we're not going to have that problem this year because you might be coming to the Pea and Whistle. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, look, still sort of optimistic, but also still like on the edge of optimism and pessimism, so to speak.
So not that sort of fantasy land where Arsene Wenger lives in. It's like, oh, I'm going to win the league again. Oh shit, no, we didn't do that.
Oh, we're going to finish 4th again? Oh, no.
No, we didn't do that either. Sorry, Tyler.
Really glad that we were the ones to do it. So we've surmounted that challenge. We were the ones to finally knock you off your perch, after we've been knocked off.
That wasn't Did take a long time to get us into that top 4.
Lovely little segue there, Jim, because we've got Liverpool actually.
Yes.
Is our next team. Obviously, the transfer window for you guys has been like a farce. That's probably the nicest way to put it.
There've been a lot of farces. So.
You guys have obviously put in Solanke. We don't know what that fee is yet.
It's free.
It'll be like
free.
3 million.
It says free on the official Premier League website.
Because he's under 23.
23. There'll be a fee there between the two clubs. 37 million for Salah. You needed to have somebody else either side of Bobby, so you can have Firmino place more central. Coutinho. Sorry. And then obviously
Robertson.
You got a mediocre left back from Hull.
Yeah, a good summer. Look, we finally, did something genuine. Like at the end of the season, we had a good season. We actually achieved something. But this is the thing with Liverpool. When we do that, when we get Champions League football for only the second time in 8 seasons, I think.
Shit.
Every time.
Horrific.
And it's worse. Every time we take that one step forward, it's 2 steps back again the next season. Either with selling our best player, I don't think we're going to sell Coutinho this time.
I don't think it's this season. I think next season you got something to worry about.
Next season, yes, but this season, it was all about taking advantage of that, and just all the talk from the media was Liverpool's biggest transfer spend ever. Targeting big name players like Virgil van Dijk. It's the most sought after centre back in the Premier League this summer, I'd say.
It's almost.
I can't disagree with that.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, and like Naby Keita, I think he was voted the
Insert Benny Hill theme music here. People running around.
Yeah, just the
Kante 2.0.
Yes, the attacking kind of bit. Like I think he's voted second best player in the Bundesliga last season. And big name players finally. So we also needed a winger because when Mane was out of the team, we just looked so slow. Yeah, it was harder to break things down, that sort of thing. So we got Salah at least. We have something. It's not a Tottenham transfer window. But Keita, I'd really love to blame us for that one, but they just won't sell him.
He's one of the most important players. You don't expect them.
You
expect them to give him up.
Forsberg, they're gonna try to
And
keep hold of those two.
so we're going for him next season. Apparently, when he's got his release clause, I don't know if it's going to happen because obviously we still need to be as attractive as we are now. Just really frustrating when these players actually want to come to Liverpool for once and just can't get them. But the Van Dijk deal, I think we'll discuss that. That's just it's a shit show. It really is.
That's a nice way to put it. I think it's
Yeah.
just been dragging on and on and on and on, and Spurs still haven't signed anyone.
I mean, I must have messaged in this group chat like about 20,000 times now.
I don't wanna know.
Something about
I think that's
Cater
being
and Van
modest.
Yeah.
Have I still got it on mute?
I mean, like, what did Ashish say? He had 1,000.
24 hours. Was
Like,
it?
I think it was like in maybe a 48-hour period.
Yeah.
1,330 missed messages or unread messages, and I think about 700 of those would be dedicated to Van Dijk.
I'd say so. It's funny because you start talking about something. I'll start talking about Arsenal, and then Tom or Jim will reply with,
Oh,
"Yeah, that's like VVD." I'm like, I don't really care right now.
Yeah. But because we got there and apparently, he wants to join us over Manchester City and Chelsea. So early June, you hear that news and you're like, shit, this is amazing. And it's cruel because you only get to think that way for one day before you wake up the next morning and it's, Liverpool statement, we are publicly ending our interest in Virgil van Dijk and apologise for our conduct. So that was a bit rough.
Well, I think the big question at this point is if because he's handed in his transfer request now.
And
Would he rather stay and wait out for Liverpool, or would he rather just get out and
But
go
if
to
he
Chelsea?
does wait it out, doesn't he have 6 years on his contract, or like 5 years remaining
they're
or
not
something?
going to... I think
Not going to keep him there for that long.
the comparison, sort of, but not really, I don't think, is the Berahino situation at West Brom when he wanted to go and they just kept him. But then they just kept him and kept him and kept him, and then...
He's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
He's
So maybe if he
playing
looks...
next to Peter Crouch at
Maybe
Stoke.
if he looks like that, I would be worried about him thinking, oh yeah, I need to go now. So because he's burnt his bridges at Southampton, he's not playing for them again after that statement.
Oh, yeah, no, no, that's not happening.
But the suggestion in the last day or so was that Southampton don't want to sell to Liverpool whatsoever, and they'd be happy to let him rot. So when it comes to this, look, obviously we have the money now. We've not even spent 50 million this transfer window. If it takes, like normally I would say 70 million, 60 million, that's what we were going for. That's what his market value is in this crazy market. But if it takes 90 million, 100 million, I don't think it's wrong for Liverpool to just go all out for this because we need this badly.
I think you need to, with the potential. You'd like to think you can get through that Champions League qualifier, but you obviously don't want to.
I don't think he'd play in that because he hasn't.
But once you get, let's assume you guys get through that, you're gonna have that again to worry about. This is like a Chelsea problem again. You need that depth
Because we have that playoff. If we progress in the League Cup as you'd think we would, we'll have 3 games a week every week of the season till February.
Jesus.
So and we're
Welcome to the life of a top 4 club.
so we've already got like only
You can't say that anymore, Tom.
Yeah.
so
We're having a
it's
break.
over.
Well, to be fair, neither can we.
Yeah. So short. Obviously, I think you look at our final third: Coutinho, Mane, Firmino, Salah, Solanke, Sturridge, even when he's fit. Origi, Ings will come back.
He's still there.
Ings is still football.
So
Hospital FC.
that's depth.
You need depth in your physio
Yes.
room,
Yeah.
mate. You don't need depth on the field.
even with injuries there, then I'm sure they'll come because that's just the way we roll.
Henderson will be out in 3 games.
Yes, we're good there. But in midfield, we are at least 1 player light, and we're not going to get anyone. This I don't understand, but and in centre back, we've only got 3 senior ones, and Gomez, who, while he has potential, can't seem to football in his
And you've
brain.
got Clavin, who's just bang average.
Who is the first drop?
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's
Yes.
like putting me at first drop for the Australian cricket team. It just doesn't work.
So we just desperately need players, and it sounds like Van Dijk's the only one who's going to come at all for some very strange
Have you
reason.
guys got any other midfield targets that you've even remotely thought
Just
of?
play Van Dijk in the midfield, should be right.
No, Klopp,
Well, you've got Milner now,
who is a new midfield player apparently.
yes, new signing for Liverpool, James Milner,
Rejuvenated
signed from
Moreno.
left back.
Yes.
Oh, and Alberto Moreno signed
Yeah.
from absolute shit to less absolute shit.
No, he was on the bench doing bottle flip challenge, mate.
He-
Didn't you see
he's
that?
better at that football, but
We've lost Lucas Leiva too, who was
I think-
a rotation player. He was.
a good yes. That
That
obviously
was
that's
silly.
what you need.
Again, this is
Oh,
like a
that
chill.
That, because he's been here 10 years, you let him leave, but you got to replace him. And not only does that take out a defensive midfielder who is so useful when a few months into the season we forget how to defend and we just go back to basics, you also lose...
Plymouth Argyle.
You also lose a backup centre back. So...
I loved his own goals. That was my favourite part of Lucas.
That's it.
You're talking about Dejan Lovren as your backup centre back, right?
No, he's starting.
He
No,
starts?
he's in the reserves.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Tim.
No, he's starting. But yeah.
Lovren who?
Yeah, so would be interesting to see if we actually finally sign someone in January, because I think, as usual, we're going to get decimated by injuries. And if it's a Champions League season, that's going to multiply. So, look, we'll probably end up like Hull last summer and have like only 8 fit players or something. So in January, if we're like that, it'll be interesting to see if we actually do anything. When the season's already probably gone. But yeah.
Classic Liverpool.
I can't see us finishing higher than 4th with what we got right now, and that would be a pretty monumental achievement.
Yeah, but you
So
got
I can't see it.
Kloppo though.
Yes, and he always exceeds your expectations. Like I even give him an iota of a chance of resurrecting Moreno's career because he's done some
He's
crazy.
the chosen one.
Apparently Moreno was amazing against Bayern and very good at Athletic Bilbao. So on the back
that's
of
pre-season.
What a pre-season.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, Bayern were like completely shit against everyone, even AC Milan.
We beat them. To be fair, it was a penalty shootout. But
True, but you know.
it's actually a shocking pre-season for them.
Oh yeah. Well,
Ancelotti must be like a little bit concerned. Like just going off track for half a second here.
Yeah.
no,
You'd be worried if you were him.
They brought in Rudy and
Tolisso,
the centre back.
Sula,
James Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's
who's now
Big
injured
loan
for,
deal.
out for a while. I think.
Is he actually?
typical.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yes. But yeah. Look, I don't have high hopes for this season, but again, I think we're gonna shake it up a little bit in Europe, but obviously winning the Champions League.
So good. Set
No.
the bar low, then if you exceed it, you feel better. So talking of setting the bar low, Arsenal.
Here we go.
Here we go.
First time in how many years that you haven't finished in the top 4 now?
21.
Yeah, I
A
think
long time. And
Almost as long as our title drought.
but yeah, that's
But
Not
they
quite.
finally signed a striker.
yeah. That's like no, he's a left back, isn't he?
Well, like
Oh,
a
like
sweaty.
but I think it's something that's probably been a while coming. They've sort of just teetered on the edge of that 4th spot, and they've got in the Champions League off a playoff every season.
Well, the last 2 seasons we were 3rd and 2nd, so
How did that
it
happen?
looked like to be fair, getting 2nd was completely Tottenham's cock up.
Yeah.
That was-
I mean, Tottenham
losing
we're
5-1
second in
to
everything
Newcastle.
but name. I
Yeah.
think
Oh, that's
it.
right.
They lost to Newcastle, who was already relegated on the final day, to lose 2nd. So that wasn't really our doing.
That's okay.
Yeah. What have you thought of this summer?
There's positives and negatives. Like we've signed that big striker that everyone's been
Finally, yeah.
wanting. Like as much as Giroud
Mm.
is that and Sanchez does his job, and he does it well. But he said that he prefers to be out on the wing and have the space and do that. So I think it's a really big signing, and I'm loving Kolasinac already. On a free transfer, he's a tank.
I think that's one of the signs
Wasn't he
of the
like
summer.
voted best left back in
Yeah,
the Bundesliga last
He was,
season?
It's
Yeah.
just watching the Community Shield game on the weekend, you can see he's got that willingness. He's got that, he wants to get in there, get stuck in. He's not
Yeah.
just a pansy that's going to go in and shy away from
Surprised he went to
stuff.
Arsenal then.
Yeah. Well, he's got a goal and an assist from defence already in pre-season, which is not something we usually have. But I think the biggest stuff for us is we've brought in Jens Lehmann on in the staff, and
Is he a goalkeeping coach or?
I don't think so. I think he's just some sort of coach. Because when I was watching them train in Sydney, we had the goalkeeper coach with them, and Lehmann was kind of with Wenger walking around. But we also brought in Darren Burgess, the fitness coach from Port Adelaide. So
Yeah, we used to have him and the other. Yeah.
Might be able to
Pretty
keep
good.
Welbeck fit.
Mate,
Out of the physio room.
mate, if you can find anybody that can keep Welbeck beat, you just don't let them go.
Oh, and wheelchair.
Like,
That's a bit of a lost cause.
Like, not,
He's already injured, isn't he?
isn't he just always injured?
I'm not sure. I know Ramsey's in doubt for the start of the first game, and Ozil is too, and Sanchez is out for the first definitely one, possibly 2 games with his abdominal pain.
Yeah.
In inverted
Yeah.
commas.
Or maybe the abdominal pain Wenger.
Yeah.
Keep him, or I don't know.
But
But-
it's like an 80 million pound hit from Manchester City. Abdominal pain.
But I think the big thing is for Arsenal though that they haven't let many go, and I think that's going to be one thing that may help them, particularly. They'll be playing Thursday nights in like Romania somewhere in the Europa League, and they're going to need that because obviously you need that depth if you're going to be playing those competitions. Oxlade-Chamberlain's been linked to every club in England so far, but they've still managed to keep a hold of him. So obviously keeping him is going to be a massive part.
Yeah.
And
Keeping Sanchez is going to be massive as well.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Sanchez? Keep him,
Well-
sell him. What do you reckon?
I think we're going to keep him. But then again, that's because Wenger has said so many times, we're going to keep him, we're not letting him go, he's going to run out his contract, but you've heard that before. But you'd have to think if he does it this time, there's going to be a lot of uproar. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to keep him. I obviously want to keep him, but with the rumoured bid from PSG of 80 mil, I'd take that for a player who's going to go on a free to possibly City, who could win the league next year if they sign Sanchez with their attack.
Yeah.
But I'd rather keep him, but that would probably, because he's valued at 40 million with his 1 year, so taking an 80 mil would be
Yeah.
a lot.
I just think the focus for Arsenal this season is that you have to get the Champions League again.
Yeah.
So you're like,
How much
might
is
as
that worth?
well take the risk. And
Yeah.
then, I don't know, if you want to bring in a replacement, you can. But I understand what you mean, but I don't know. I suppose that's for 12 months' time.
Yeah,
to
there's
worry
pros and
about.
cons to
It's
it
for
all.
future Arsenal to worry about.
Yeah.
Going back to your point of we haven't sold many players, I love that you think that, but Wenger's looking to ship out a whole lot. We're looking at getting rid of Debussy, Gibbs, who else? Jenkinson. There's about 4 or 5.
You've probably got some players that do need to go. I think your squad's
33.
Yeah,
That's
it's
massive.
a big squad.
So you
At
even
least
if
they
you
can't complain about depth.
And the other thing, though, isn't it, that they don't want to buy any more players until they've sold a few, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we can. I think we've filled up our overseas quota at the moment, which Lucas Perez is another one actually that's going. And
Yeah.
he's not
I
English.
genuinely feel sorry for that bloke.
He's played brilliantly every time he's been on, so it's a bit
Strange
disappointing.
I feel like it
yeah.
was just, oh
Pacified
shit, we need to
defenders.
sign a striker.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll sign you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. When do I get to play?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe next week.
yeah,
The
You
next
said
week
that. You
comes,
said that
maybe the
last week
later.
though.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe next week. But I genuinely actually feel sorry for the bloke because he played. Where was he before he was at Arsenal? He was at-
Deportivo.
Definitely.
And he was solid
Yeah.
before he came there. He had a very good goals to game ratio. He didn't have a lot of problems with injuries, and he comes in and just keeps the seat warm at the Emirates.
Well, it's probably a good pickup. Like, I heard Newcastle wanted him. And if someone like them get him, then that's probably a very, very useful signing. So staying away from relegation.
Newcastle, who one of their options up front? Jose Perez and is Mitrovic still there?
Gale.
Dwight
Gale.
Gale. Did he
Some-
win the Golden Boot last year in the championship?
He might have. He was very
Yeah.
close to it, if not.
And it's,
I
it's,
don't rate
th-
him.
they're
Dale
not-
was on fire though.
He
For
somehow
the
scores
the
goals.
It's the
championship.
in the
championship.
championship.
Let's remember that, and I think we're gonna have. I think when we get to our predictions for top 7 and bottom 3, we might see a few of those championship
Yeah.
clubs pop up in our bottom
Mm.
3, just because you think. I think there's an exception with Newcastle. I think they didn't have a terrible squad going down into the championship. They lost a couple of players, and they've got Rafa Benitez as well. He's not just your average Joe Bloggs
Yeah.
championship manager. He's someone who's won Champions League trophies and Premier League titles. And
They do, but I still look at that squad and it's a championship squad. And they're not, because Mike Ashley is not bringing anyone in.
And Rafa was voicing his distaste in that the other day in an interview.
Because it's like different levels with Newcastle and Chelsea. But if they don't make him happy, he's going to go. And if he goes, then
They're in trouble.
yes,
Gale got 23 goals last year, which was equal second. None of them penalties.
right.
That's pretty solid.
Who finished above him?
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood.
Chris.
from
Is
Leeds.
he the Kiwi boy?
He
yeah,
is.
27 goals, 5 were penalties.
Which
Which
still
club?
not that bad.
Yeah.
He was Leeds,
He's
wasn't he?
Leeds. Yeah.
Leeds.
They cocked up big time.
Oh,
didn't
they should have-
absolutely bottled it.
They should be in the Premier
Like we
League.
thought Arsenal and Spurs did good bottle jobs years ago. That takes the cake. They should have been top 3 until was it the last 10 games or something?
They
They
fell
just
off.
decided to like, okay, we're gonna stop playing football now.
I mean, the season before, I won't go into it too much, but Derby County, the season before, they were
Oh, they copped
top
up.
at February or March.
Didn't they lose a playoff to Norwich?
They didn't even. Did they even get in the play? No, they
Was
lost
that-
3-0 on the last day to Reading, and they went from 1st to 8th in the span of about 2 months.
That's a cop-out
Derby's one of those
and a
teams that have
half.
always sort of just been up there.
I mean, surely they're gonna get promoted eventually.
It'll happen.
Yeah, but yeah, Premier League.
Yes.
Okay,
Back to
Sorry.
the Prem.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got
To be fair,
as-
Newcastle are in the Prem.
that's true.
yeah.
Oh, we have such a good focus on those small
But
players.
I don't think they're going to... I think they need Lucas Perez because their second highest scorer
Yeah.
was Jose Perez with 9 goals. So that's a big
In the
differentiation.
championship.
That's almost like United.
Zlatan and where's the next person?
Yeah.
I think it might have been Rooney. That's how bad we were.
Jesus.
Oh. Well, look, as long as any of the new blokes that we brought in can take corners, that's.
Look, we already have Phil Jones. Do we need anyone else?
That was my biggest... I always wondered why Rooney wasn't, when he was on, why he wouldn't take corners sometimes. It was...
Well, he's not using the box. He's like 5'10". He's not
He
going to
can
win.
head the ball better than half of the squad.
Yeah, but he can't jump.
He can put in a ball better than Phil
Yes.
Jones. Like,
Oh,
that always puzzled
mate,
Did
me.
you not
as
watch
to
that
why.
game against QPR?
Did you
That's
not watch the game against Fulham?
That's a team
92
I haven't heard of
crosses.
in a while. QPR.
But genuinely speaking, though, just backtracking a little bit, and this is the point I think we brought up in the United podcast. Those set pieces were something where we always struggled throughout the whole season. Apart from the 4 goals we scored against Leicester, that one game where we scored, I think, 3 from
Three
corners. We
Two
scored. I
headers
don't
and,
think we got anything else the rest of the season other than that Mkhitaryan goal in the Europa League final.
Schweini overhead kick against, I think it was Reading.
Yes, Reading though.
Yeah, but it's still a goal
Maybe
from
you
the
should
corner.
bring in Harry Kane. I heard he's pretty good on the corners.
Free kicks. Free kicks as well. Okay, before we backtrack anymore, we need to move forward. I don't really think we've got a lot to talk about
City.
at City.
City.
I
Actually,
was going to go to.
just touch on Tottenham.
Yeah, do we
first?
want to do Tottenham before
Yeah,
we move on to
'cause-
City? Because there's not
Let's
really a lot to
start Tottenham.
talk about.
And we're done.
But what is? Do they even have a transfer policy? Like, what's
It
going on?
reminds me a lot of Arsenal around the time of the Emirates Stadium move. I think it's very similar. Because you have a good team. Obviously, they didn't have the trophies that Arsenal did then. Arguably the best starting 11 in the league.
But what do they have?
Very
beyond,
impressive.
what do they have beyond that though?
Yes, that's the thing.
That's the thing. And they've let Kyle Walker go.
And Trippier's now injured.
Yes.
Yeah, it
and they
says-
brought in no one.
Yeah, he's
Because they're operating in a different transfer ideology to everyone else. They're still like bidding 20 million for a right back when they go for like 40, 50 million now. And because it's Daniel Levy, his policy seems to be wait until August when like clubs get more desperate to sell, so maybe the prices become more reasonable. I would have thought they would in August people just lose their shit. It's like, yeah, just get him. So they just splurge. But they need players desperately.
Because they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players going out. One of those being Kyle Walker.
How did they get-
Fazio was apparently theirs.
Yeah.
He was out on loan.
He was out on
last year.
loan, and he's
He's
gone
been
back to
signed.
Has he gone to Sevilla?
Roma,
He's
Roma,
signed
Roma
Roma.
signed him fully now. So.
Clinton and G's gone to Marseille.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't play him a lot. He was hyped
wasn't
up
right.
a fair bit, but
Yeah, that probably
Oh,
need.
look, the Central Coast
Onima.
Mariners got that goalkeeper that they had.
Tom Glover on loan.
they've sent Onima on loan to Villa.
Yeah, but that's just
They don't have
Well,
much.
There's no ins.
No.
There's no
It's
ins.
just
Yeah, there's-
outs.
there's none.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to scroll on Ashneel's phone to look where the intersection is, but it just says out.
I think that paired with their obviously at Wembley this year, they're not that great at Wembley. And
Yeah, I think they'll eventually.
White Hart Lane was a fortress for them as such.
Mm.
So
And they can expect
it's
to
n-
concede one every time they face United because Lingard is a Wembley specialist.
And it's probably not Wembley's probably not going to be full every game because, the away teams they're not going to get a great allocation of it, even if it doesn't fill up, and then you're not going to get 90,000 every game.
it's going to be similar to West Ham moving to London
Yes.
Stadium.
Could be like that.
Obviously, Spurs are a bit better than
I just
West Ham.
I keep
Everybody's
under
better than
I keep underrating
Except for West
Spurs
Ham.
though, is the thing. So I keep saying they're going to go out of the Champions League this year and they keep performing. So
They keep
I'm
putting on
wary-
that pressure.
I'm wary of saying they're just going to tank it. But you'd think if they continue this policy, the other 5 teams in the top 6, maybe even Everton if they pick up, the money tells in the end. So eventually you think they're going to squander this position that they've got.
It also depends on how deep they go in the Champions League because they were in it last year, but they
Deep Champions League, Tottenham. Good one.
because they exited after the group
Group
stages,
stage.
right? And they went.
They went straight to the Europa League,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yes, and then
Yeah.
they lost that.
Yeah, they didn't have Europe basically most of last season because they just got knocked out of everything
Yeah.
straight away. So
Is that their strategy? It's like, oh, we're just shit in Europe, so we'll just get knocked out and then we can focus on the league.
I think it's more so we don't have any squad depth. Let's go out of Europe and
Yeah.
focus on the Prem,
And the
and
other,
then don't even finish first.
yeah.
the other thing with Tottenham, I think, is that they start slow. We've had them early, I think the last 2 seasons, and I've been watching them obviously as well, and they've really struggled to fire up, especially scoring goals. They sort of eventually click into gear at sort of December, January.
They've tended to have a hard few starts to the season, like fixture-wise, because I know they played United 2 seasons ago as the
Yeah.
opening
Um,
game.
Cole
But-
Walker own goal.
Yeah.
the boys 1-0 win.
Well, I'm looking at, this is August last year, they had, I think, Everton round 1, Palace, then Liverpool, then Stoke, then
The most
Sunderland.
score for.
Well, that's actually quite not.
The first
quite a
game,
simple
though,
start.
like their first couple of games, 1-1 Everton, 1-0 win against Palace, 1-1 against Liverpool. Then they came up against Stoke and scored 4. Then only put 1 past Sunderland, though, at home.
To be fair, Son was having a really good start to the season.
And that's going to be the thing, is that if it happened last season, if Harry Kane misses game time, I think they could be in strife.
Well, they're still relying on Janssen. He's
Yeah.
got- he's
Rely
got
on him?
one.
What did he do last year other than score a penalty?
Yeah, you got one
He
goal.
came
in
on
an
about
open
10
play.
times. It's
Did he score 1 goal from open play?
Yeah, and that was off a corner.
Whoa.
Yeah.
open play.
Open play.
Because then I guess you can argue that you could probably chuck Son up front, but then who do you put on the wing to replace
That's the
Son?
thing.
Who are their wingers? 'Cause they-
Lamella and Heung-min Son.
They
As well
don't.
as
They don't
Lamella.
really
Lamella.
play with wingers.
And Kudu.
That's why they brought in the 4-3-3. I think because they were, they have Ericsson and Ali at the attacking midfield. So obviously,
Who sits in was Wanyama in behind them?
and
or Eric Dier?
Dembele. Musa Dembele.
So they've got the creative, but they didn't have the pace to stretch teams and stuff. So obviously, you use those great attacking fullbacks, and they're the pace, and they do all that.
And I don't know how true this is or not. When I was up last night watching YouTube videos, something about Danny Rose heading off somewhere.
there were rumours of
Rose to United.
Rose wanting to leave or them releasing Rose.
Oh
from-
right.
That's
I don't
an
know.
odd one because
It won't.
ahead of
I don't
Kane
think it'll
Davies.
happen. Well, but I suppose at Spurs every player has their price, but I can't see it happening because he's injured too. Not this summer.
Oh gosh.
And they've already sold Walker, like you say. Yeah.
And with Trippier being out for the first, it's
They're
said
gonna
to be
have-
about 2 games. So
They're gonna have to throw one of the youth boys in there. You'd think.
You'd think.
Dyer is going to be the right back.
I guess he.
Sure,
But
that's a
still,
Well, he
bit
can
of
play.
pace on that flank.
if you're playing 3-4-3, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, now that we've talked about the nothing that's happened at Spurs,
The
We can-
everything.
The
the
last
everything
top
that is
6 club.
nothing at Spurs, we can now move on to arguably the team that's probably spent the most amount of money this window, and that's City.
I'd say they
They've-
have.
They've just and I think the main point is here. They had to do this at some point. They had a lot of deadwood, particularly at the back in those wing back spots,
Yeah.
and they had to get rid of it. You got players like Clichy, Sanya,
Zabaleta.
Zabaleta. They had to get rid of them, and now they've gone and replaced those players. Even the goalkeeper, they've gone and replaced those players with with obviously we're not going to see how good they are until they play in the Prem, but you could say that they're arguably better than the
Yeah.
blokes that were there before.
Well, Kyle Walker is better than any right back they had at the time.
He's competitive with any right back in the league.
And
Then
then
you've got Danilo who can play on either side and in centre
I'm curious
midfield.
to see how that goes if he plays regularly at left back. I'm not
no,
sure.
they got Mendy.
Well, they got Mendy
have
now that
Mendy.
they brought in for left back. Then I don't know. He can play either side and in the midfield, so you'd think he might get a run in maybe the cup games or something to
They
start
might
with.
even settle for a back three, go with attacking wing backs.
That seems to be the thing at the moment. Everybody's
Mm.
going with a back three these days. They needed obviously a better goalkeeper because
Better
Bravo.
goalkeeper. You remember that cock up in pre-season against us?
Which
That's
one?
pre-season.
He has improved though. I saw him in the next game and he was very good.
And I think the
against
difference
them.
between him and Bravo, he's only 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
He can't get a lot. I don't think he will get. I think he will definitely get better.
Mm.
Whereas Bravo is 30
Yeah.
something around the.
Approaching
towards
that,
the end of
if
his career.
not.
Edison's
right
got time on his side. He's very young. His strengths are, and I saw this in one of the preseason games that City play. He's got a massive sledgehammer of a left foot on him. He played a ball up all the way up, like 70-metre goal kick to Aguero, who chested it down about 10 yards outside the opposition penalty area, had a shot, put it wide. But and I've been talking to a mate who supports Benfica, and he said he's gotten assists from goal kicks.
They should chuck him on penalties, a la Courtois.
Free kick.
But you've now got someone who's probably more competent with the ball at their feet at the back, which is what they want, so they can play that nice little,
Tennis
Guardiola
style,
football that
yeah.
they want to play. And they've brought in Bernardo Silva as well.
That's a good sign.
They needed that very, very
That's
badly.
an interesting one though, because
Sane and
last
Sterling.
season you think like of the one thing they're doing well, the final third they've got sorted, but then they come in straight away and slap another attacking midfielder in there.
I don't think that's a bad thing though.
Mm,
You think consider they need to be able to do that, and this is what Chelsea should. They're doing what Chelsea should be doing. They're going, okay, we've got Champions League football, we've got 2 domestic cups and a league to worry about. We'll bring in a shitload of good players. We've got our asses covered.
And that's the thing, because they still want another forward, and they've already got Aguero and Jesus.
They did
They
just ship out
Iheanacho.
Kelechi, yeah. And
But
Just-
still,
he didn't
because
play much for
the
Jesus
forward they
Navas.
want is like Sanchez or Mbappe.
Yeah.
So you got a starting level striker when you've already got 2.
Aguero
So-
and Jesus.
And Jesus Sode before he got injured last season, he's
Very.
he was very impressive. He's this tiny little Brazilian kid that nobody had really known much about until he came to City, and then he.
Scores 2 offside goals and buries the rest.
But he like there was a point where everybody was saying, "Oh, well, Aguero's probably going to be worried about his
I
starting
think
spot."
he would be. Yeah.
And if I was Aguero, I would be worried about your starting spot. And you've seen this young, he's only 22 or 23 as well, coming in and scoring goals on his debut like it's not, he's played in the Prem for 20 years. He's like, oh, okay. And
This
I think,
isn't as hard as
and
I
that's a
expected.
good thing. It's,
Yeah.
You need that competitiveness in your squad. If you've got players fighting for positions, that brings the best out of them.
They've definitely got that up front because you got Sane, Sterling, Jesus, Aguero. Behind that you got KDB and David Silva. You got Bernardo Silva.
De Bruyne.
It's just
It's-
ridiculous.
Fernandinho, Yaya Toure, and
Yeah.
the defence
They've gone.
midfield as well.
They've gone from what was the most mismanaged, probably the oldest 2 squad in the Premier League
Oh yeah.
in one summer to very frightening. I think
Very.
the only weakness I see is centre back, but they haven't brought one in, and they're not going for Van Dijk. They've probably spent most of their money, to be fair, but still.
In saying that, in pre-season, and this has surprised me a bit, Mangala actually played very well.
Mm.
After having a really, really shit first... Did he come in last year or the year before?
I think he had 2 seasons.
Yeah, I
His
think this
first
is his
season, he
second.
was
He wasn't there last season.
just so bad. Last year, he went out on loan to Valencia,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But he's looked actually very solid this pre-season, and it'll either be him and Otamendi or him and Stones in the middle.
And company if and when he's
Well,
fit.
when is company
Danilo.
currently fit?
I think he might be.
And then you got Danilo who could
Stone
slot in there.
Stones
Otamendi.
has picked up
Have we
in the,
mentioned
in the
Otamendi?
last
I think
2 months
not sure.
of last season, and now you can see it this season he's improved.
Company, when he has played, has shown how good he is. And
Yeah.
being the
And they still
captain,
need one more, I'd say, but
it's
One
they're
more for
probably
depth.
thinking everywhere else.
it's
We are.
super scary though. Like just like I said, they've signed players that they needed. They haven't just gone and frivolously spent money on players that they didn't really need. They've gone, okay, we need new wing backs, we'll sign them. We need a new goalkeeper, we'll sign them. They got rid of Joe Hart to West Ham on loan, which looks like it may become a permanent I'm not sure that was entirely like. Look, they brought in Edison, who arguably, yes, very good goalkeeper, but you've got Joe Hart, very experienced Premier League goalkeeper. He's won league titles.
I think after the goalkeepers they've had the last 2 seasons or so, what they're looking for is goalkeepers who won't fuck up. That's why I think they were also looking at Reina as the backup one instead of Bravo. But Joe Hart at Torino last season made 9 errors leading to goals.
Was that the second most in the?
If there's someone who did more than that, Jesus Christ. But yes, Joe Hart at
And
West
that's
Ham.
what frustrates me being a goalkeeper as well. He's a very, very good shot stopper. I'd argue when he was playing in the Prem, probably one of the best. Maybe just behind Laurie's.
I think his head's
Dave.
just gone.
But it's because he's been
And his
using all that
shoulders.
bloody shampoo. But it frustrates me seeing that because he just has a moment where he just snaps and does something real dumb.
It's like Bravo. I mean, some of the mistakes, I'm very used to them as a Liverpool fan, the crazy defensive errors, but so reassuring to see other clubs just do it. I mean, basically passing it into the net.
And just tracking back to Liverpool for just a second, you must be quite happy now with your goalkeeping stock, seeing as Mignolet had a really, really good season last year. Was Karius there just last year, or was he there the year
just
before?
Just last year.
And, he was, obviously before that, Mignolet had not been setting the world on fire, and Klopp wanted to bring in a younger option to try and push both of them for the starting spot. Karius came in, didn't do fantastically. Mignolet got another go, and second half to the 2/3 of the season, he played very well.
Yep. That hasn't been a priority for us this summer at all, looking for a new keeper. And you've got Danny Ward coming in as well from Huddersfield last season. Had a pretty good season. I don't even know if he's going to play any games. But yeah, we look decently set at goalkeeper, and Karius should improve.
Is Bogdan still there? Is that still a thing?
No, he went on.
He's there, but
He is?
he's there because he had an ACL, and
Wasn't he at Bolton or something?
yeah, Wigan, I think, in League One, and we loaned him there. He did his ACL, looking for buyers. That's the thing this summer. A little bit digression, but I think clubs have found it really hard to let players go that they want to let go. You look at Arsenal are really struggling to sell the deadwood.
Yeah.
We need to clear out players like Sarko and Markovic and all those sorts of ones. I'm sure other clubs would too.
I mean, Chelsea have successfully shipped out like 2 starting 11s.
Yeah,
They've got Vitesse to do that too.
exactly.
Here you
Yeah,
go. You want
because
another one?
I'm struggling to think why that is. I mean, maybe they're asking more because it's an inflated market, and they're probably we're asking 30 million for Sarko. I'm not sure.
Jeez.
It's I don't even think even that's a good example. It's more like when you ask for 15 million for Alberto Moreno and 16 million for Lazar Markovic.
I'll give you 5 M&Ms and a peanut.
That's the thing. Maybe as it comes closer to deadline day and clubs get
Yeah.
desperate, you'll see that. But
That's what Wenger said. He said that there's just a whole lot of congestion at the moment with trying to offload a lot of deadwood, and that's why we haven't successfully done that yet. But he said it will be coming. So
fuck, should be a good deadline day. It's been ages since a good
gonna be
deadline
hectic.
We're
day.
going to have someone pulling out in Wingy. We might have Van Dijk do that rock up at Melwood going, is anybody here? Can I come in yet?
Oh,
Who knows?
We'll probably agree terms with Perisic, and then it'll be pissing down rain, and then he'll be like, "Yeah, nah, fuck." And
Just
then
like
he'll
that.
come back.
the fax machine will break.
Oh, yes. I still don't think we've replaced that fax machine, funnily enough. I think we keep
I think it was Real Madrid's fax machine that cocked up.
No, we
with ours.
keep that broken one there in case of emergency.
Oh yeah, fair.
Anyway, we've got I think one more club that we want to talk about now. I think that's Everton. And
Can I just touch quickly on Stoke City?
no.
Because they've brought in Choupo-Moting from Schalke. Apparently, I think it's on a free.
yeah.
Yeah.
They brought in Zuma on loan and Fletch from West Brom. Like they're not terrible signings.
Josh Timon from
Fletcher,
Hull as
yeah.
well.
They have
Fletcher
lost
must be
Arnautovic.
45 or
They
something.
did lose Arnautovic.
I don't know
But
if that's such a loss.
For them, it kind of he did well for them.
I get that,
He had one good season.
but him
Choupo-Moting.
and Shaqiri seem to have stopped caring at Stoke. I think.
What would anybody care at Stoke?
They,
Yeah.
they did lose
They're
Jonathan
sad.
Walters.
Yeah,
Oh, that's their
okay.
season
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah,
They've done that a couple of times. They've brought in these players that are like, oh, they might not be too terrible, and they've just finished
I love Shaqiri.
10th or 11th again. And it's like they have a really good run. And then I think last year they got absolutely battered a couple of times. Like Spurs put 4 past them in one game.
They're a proper mid-table team.
Yes, they definitely
Expect
are.
them to finish up the season
But
as
they,
well.
like I said, they had a couple. They had City put 4 past them. Stoke put 4 past them. Palace put 4 past them.
Fucking
Stoke put
against
4
them.
past Stoke.
Arsenal put 3. Liverpool put 4. Chelsea put another 4.
You know when we're putting 3 past someone, they're shit.
And if it's Stoke,
Yeah.
So Spurs put 4 past them twice.
look, we found it really, really easy against Stoke. Even that game, we were absolutely shithouse for
The
the
first
first
half.
45. Should have been.
Which game was that at?
Pulled
Was
out
that
a
at
screamer out of his
Was
arse.
that at Stoke?
Stoke, at Stoke.
You guys pulled out a 2-1. Coutinho
Dude,
and
Bobby's
Bobby
goal.
2 minutes apart.
Bobby's goal was an absolute
Wait.
screamer.
Yeah. Oh. It's a good season in some. Yeah.
Jim's getting a bit excited now.
Yeah,
Reminiscing
calm him
about
down
the
a
past.
bit.
Never
Anyway,
seen a Liverpool fan do
Let's
that.
talk about everybody's second favourite team from Liverpool. Now that's Everton.
I think it's the top two teams in Liverpool. Bill Shankly says Liverpool and Liverpool Reserve.
You've got Everton, who have gone and done a City and just decided to pull money out of their ass. Or even
I
you
feel
can
like they
compare
did
them,
an
you
AC
can compare them to
Milan.
Milan.
Yeah.
Getting money for Lukaku gave them.
Well, they've got.
That-
I haven't got the figures here, but Pickford in, Keane in, Rooney. That was a free. Was that a free?
I
Rooney
think it
was
was
a free.
10 million, wasn't it?
Rooney was a
Pickford
free.
was
Oh, okay.
25 mil and Klassen was 27.
27 euros.
Yeah, and
Just 27 euros.
Just
No.
27
Oh,
euros.
fuck, that's cheap.
And a bagger.
and Keane was 30.
Then you've got Rooney, who's whatever. Sandro, who I think was a really, really. I think he
Good pickup. Yeah.
been a good
Yeah.
pickup. I'm underrated by a
Gee,
lot of
like
people.
the
I don't think.
pickups that Atletico didn't make, like getting Lacazette. I didn't think he would be able to get someone of the quality of Lacazette. I don't think he'd want to go to a now Europa League club, but he did. And then Sandro too, because again Everton wouldn't have gotten him. So really, just target who Atletico attack.
I think Griezmann could leave and then Costa will be the
I think
replacement.
I think Griezmann will
End
come
of
to
the season.
United.
Well, I thought I said that. Who's the manager? At Atletico.
Simeone.
He said that they weren't going to go for Costa. He said,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're not
Yeah, I
interested in
read-
having him back."
Mm.
I read that.
It'll be
Very
interesting.
Oh, well,
strange.
Duncan might be happy then. That means he might go to AC Milan.
It'll be interesting
then-
to see what AC Milan do if and when maybe.
They're not going to
Griezmann
win the
goes.
league.
No,
Not going to do it.
I think that's a
reckon
I think
they'll
that's a
come close.
one-team race this year.
Well, where did they finish last year, Milan? They finished sixth.
Sixth.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd be looking at finishing top 3 or 4 this
I
year.
think
I
they'll
reckon they-
want to challenge for the title because Juventus have lost like half.
I think
their
everyone's
back
sick
four.
of those match-fixing bastards winning every year.
Yeah,
I
I think
think
Serie A's changing like that because I think Inter with the Chinese owners as well, they're gonna come up. I don't think it's gonna change in one season. It's gonna take 2 or 3 to sort of.
I still think Milan will make
Resettle the
Champions
order.
League this season.
I think so too.
you got to think about Napoli too. They've been.
I
up
think
there.
they're still good.
Insigne,
Yeah.
Mertens.
Mertens
I
particularly.
think
He nearly got to 30 goals last year,
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah.
I think Insigne got 20 for the season
And
as well.
Hamzik even he's
Hamsik, yeah.
captain loyalty.
He's been their mainstay now for.
Yeah, he's gonna break their record for games if he hasn't, and their goals too from midfield, which is crazy to
Yeah.
overtake Maradona.
Gosh. Anyway, back to Everton.
Back to Everton.
Sorry, we ended up in Italy.
Duncan
What
will
do
be
we-
happy.
Just a quick trip.
What do we all think though? Because they've gone and signed all these players, but
I
I
think
still feel like it's
because they're still firmly seventh.
yeah. I think that's what we've all already agreed on, and we'll look at that in a second when we go through our top 7 and bottom 3. They're not. That's not like they've gone and like they haven't got the money to be able to go and sign Lukaku's and like that. How much did they pay for Lukaku? 30,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something
and
like that.
we've got him for more than double that.
I think they'd be willing to pay because they got Mashiri now. He's got money, and obviously they've spent it. But the thing with Everton, the signings they've made are good signings. But if Manchester United or Liverpool or any of the top 6, even Tottenham, wanted to sign in any of the players they've got, would have got him straight away. That they are top 6 signings when the top 6 minus Tottenham are making top 4/title signings. So, bridging that gap, I can't see them doing it. No.
Like, unless
And
any
they've
of
got
the
Europa
top...
League too, and I think
Yeah.
they want to be genuinely in it. So,
I think they'll go hard at the Europa League, and
I don't think they'll win. No.
I don't think they'll win. I think
Yeah.
they'll focus
Round
on that
32.
more than we will.
The thing with Arsenal too, I think, and yes, Wenger's saying we're going to put all our eggs in the Premier League basket, just going to put the kids out for the Europa League. Absolutely, that can happen too, especially in the group stage. I mean, you could play all kids, all 6 games, and you're still probably topping the group.
he said it depending on what group we get. It's probably going to be a reserve.
The thing with the Europa League, though, I think, is the Thursday, Sunday schedule. I don't know what it is, but teams really struggle because it's not even about, I think, balancing the squad so that, you know, like your best 11 just plays Premier League. It just seems really hard to be able to the training time and not planning for the weekend and stuff like that. What, as a distinguished Europa League club,
Sorry, who are you looking at here?
what
He's
do you,
looking in a mirror at himself.
is that what you thought with Manchester United last season? Because why you didn't maintain the title challenge or even top 4 challenge?
I think it got to a point where Mourinho probably went, okay, can we realistically get a Champions League spot through the league? And I think once that slowly came down towards no, maybe he threw his eggs in one basket and went, okay, this is our best option. It's all or nothing. Because we're not, I think, because it did get to the point where we were having those 1-1 draws against teams that we should have been belting 5 or 6-0. And it was just...
I think it also came down to having Spurs and Arsenal in like the last 6 games of the season.
Yeah,
Going, we need to put all our
Chelsea.
eggs into the Europa League basket, get Champions League that way.
And we also had a crap load of injuries.
So, but before that, did you think the Europa League was making it harder in the league?
I mean, of course it was. You're having to, you know, travel on a Wednesday or Thursday night to the middle of Central Europe, and sometimes having to come back and then playing a game on a Saturday or, you know, maybe a Sunday. It's, you know, it's rough. And if you've got Champions League, you know, you're playing on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and then you're coming back for a weekend game. You've got that little bit more time if you're playing in that league. So that's that. And I think once our injuries started racking up as well, because, you know,
Injuries
obviously
to
all clubs get
Zlatan and
injuries.
Rojo.
Zlatan got injured, Rojo got injured, Young got injured, Shaw was injured for the whole season. We were having to pull those kids up. Like Twanzebe got started, Fosu Mensah got started.
I think we had 4 people on crutches in that Europa League final, and
Was
Bailly
that-
suspended.
Bothwick Jackson, did he play as well?
Bojack
No,
was on
He
loan.
was on loan. I think he is going back out on loan to Leeds.
I think he's going to Leeds now. I think he was on loan to Wolves last season.
Yes, he
He's
was
at
on
Leeds
loan.
on loan this season.
But
And then, Fosu Mensah on loan to Palace this season.
Oh, that's another one.
I'm happy with that. He needs to get first team games.
Yeah.
I think we
At
have
another club.
at another club. I
The
think
Mourinho way.
if he comes in and gets first team time, because Valencia's not going to get any younger. If he comes in and gets first team time, and I won't spend too much time on this because we have digressed a bit. We're talking about Everton.
Yeah.
But if he gets first team time away from us, can come in next year. He's got Premier League experience. You know, it might be that transitional bit where he's going to start getting more games, and Valencia might be the one coming off the bench.
Yep.
So and
He can play midfield.
he can
play
play. He's
centre
very
back.
versatile. That's the thing. He can play anywhere, and I think Mourinho likes those type of players that are very versatile. And he's young. He's shown good ticker, and he came through our youth academy as well, which we've had a very strong tradition of bringing players through our academy and getting them into the first team. And some of them have done well, some of them not so well. But
Back to Everton.
yes, back to Everton. They'll probably still finish 7th.
Yeah.
I think we're going to give it a little 5-minute break now because I think Jim needs to go to the toilet.
No, I'm just going to go searching for our long lost Premier League trophy.
Still have one?
I don't
we'll be
think you
back
have a
very
proper
soon.
Premier League era trophy, do you?
Are we back
We're
yet?
back now.
Now we're back. Beautiful. Jim worked out how to use the computer. We've all had our little international break. Gone and done our thing. We've come back now.
Fucking hate it.
Well, that's besides the point. Now that we've had a look at the big teams and where they have or haven't spent their money, if you Spurs.
The big teams and Everton.
Yeah, sorry. Now I went and asked the boys to go and pick a bottom 3 and a top 7. I think we all know who's going to finish in 7th. But we're going to start down the bottom, and I'll start with my bottom 3. And it really pains me to say it as well, because we were just talking in the break about a certain bald Australian man that's signed for this club.
Really?
And that's Huddersfield. Unfortunately, I think I've got them finishing last. And
I can't exactly dispute that.
I
Even
like-
with Bull Pirlo.
even with Pasty Perlo there, I still don't think they've got that quality. You saw teams last year come up. Middlesbrough, they tried and tried and tried and tried, but they just.
And I think Middlesbrough even when a promoted club comes up, they have to make the Premier League signings. You know, they have to go out and spend at least 30, 40 million, at least, you know, like a few 10, 15 million players, and they'd sort of done that. I just think they were really shittily coached.
Yeah, because they had Alvaro Negredo, who's played in the Premier League before with City, and he was scoring goals.
And they brought in Callum Chambers, who's not the worst player.
And they had two very good goalkeepers who played. I don't think Valdez had played. Well, Valdez, who's arguably had that, you know, season in inverted commas at United, didn't really do that much. And then you've got Brad Guzan, who had a very, very long, you know, had a long-term spell in the Premier League with
Bit of a shit.
Aston Villa. But
that's the thing. All three promoted clubs, I haven't really seen them make any of those sorts of signings.
we're talking about the three promoted clubs.
Yeah.
From last
And
And-
so I worry for all of them. But yeah, especially, I feel like we know less about
Exactly.
the promoted clubs this
That's
year.
why it's really hard to sort of put a point on where they're going to finish.
Brighton and Huddersfield haven't been up before, I don't think. So, whereas
I think Brighton may have been
Maybe
up
a
at
few
one
years
point.
ago,
I'm
yeah.
not
Point,
sure,
but not recently.
Newcastle's the only one where they're sort of a known quantity.
Yeah,
Mm.
but have all of you guys got Huddersfield somewhere in your bottom three?
I've
Dead
got them
last.
bottom.
We've
Yeah.
all got, I think we've all feeling the same there. But I think the fact that they had to go through a playoff, who'd they beat in the playoffs?
Reading.
Reading.
And even then they
Reading.
went to penalties, didn't it? In the
Yes,
playoff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think they won any of their playoff games in the 90 minutes. I think they had to go to extra
That's right.
time in
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah, because they've got Klopp's mate in charge. I think that they might even have their moments. They might cause a few upsets.
Oh, look,
because
that always happens. You've always got those clubs that are down the bottom that will provide a bit of
and they're not.
frustration.
They're not proper Derby County shithouse. I don't think. But,
Sorry to any Derby County
it's like
supporters.
a little bit like with Hull last season. It's gonna take a real miracle.
I
to
don't think
stay
they're
up.
in as a dire position that Hull was. Like
Yeah.
coming into the start of the season last year, Hull didn't have a coach. They had 8 senior players.
And they had only 2 actual fit players on the bench. Is that right?
Or
Yeah,
something like that.
against
I'm looking
Leicester.
at Hull
Yeah.
They
going.
beat the champions
Yeah.
2-1
Yeah.
first game of the season.
I honestly have never
$10
been more.
on that game.
I've never been more shocked in my life watching that first game of the season and seeing Leicester absolutely get smashed by a team that didn't actually have a team.
Well, when everyone said, because we drew with them early on, and everyone was like, how are you complaining about drawing with the champions? And I was like, that was a fluke season, that we should be beating Leicester at this stage.
So, 19th, I've got Burnley, and I'm really upset about this because I love Burnley. They're a nice little story. They're a tiny little city with a little club. They're really adorable, and they've got Sean Dyche there, who everybody, for whatever reason, seems to like. He's a really hard, tough manager. But don't have a lot of money. They throw a team out there, and they managed to somehow knock Liverpool off 2-0 last season, which I've never been more happy in my entire life.
I think
Jim's
it's
still having flashbacks, but
My eyes are glazing
I
over.
think it's their outgoings that are
it's
going
their outgoings. As
And they don't bring
Tyler
anyone
says.
in.
They've had what? They've had Keane go.
And
Boyd,
Gray in the last 24
Andre Gray in
hours.
the last 24 hours has gone to Watford for like
18.
13, 12, 18?
Yeah.
Shit, it was that much.
Mm.
And Boyd as well go, and I don't think they've replaced them with anybody that I've ever heard of before in
Even
my life.
anybody
Like,
else? I don't know.
the only names I recognise on this list: Phil Bardsley from Stoke, Jack
Yeah.
Cork from Swansea, and Jonathan Walters from Stoke.
But
Charlie Taylor was that young left back at Leeds, but he's not an amazing player.
And that's the problem. They don't have the money. Like their record
think
signing last year was 7-4, who they paid £8 or £9 million pounds for.
I think they do have the money, but you've got to at least be spending like 8 million like that. But they just they still have a championship mindset with who they buy, and they've had the parachute payments from the first time they were in. I think weren't they also in like more late 2010s? I think they also
possible.
yeah they're in then. They're in 14, 15. They're in last season. There should be enough money there to be making some decent signings, but they just
We've also lost good old Joey Barton.
I don't know how they're going to cope with that one. Jeez,
Who's
I
a
saw-
magnificent loss.
in the City game, it was City away. I saw him in that game. He was absolutely useless. Or no, it was against you. You at Turf Moor.
Did we draw 1-1? Oh, no, it wasn't at Old Trafford.
No, it was.
Mate, it was 0-0 at Old Trafford, and he didn't pull the saves out of his arse.
Oh, yeah,
he
no,
had
we're
a-
not
he
going
had
to
a
talk
good
about that
season.
game. That game never
He had a
happened.
good season.
He didn't have
Yeah.
a really good
So,
season.
hold on, was this United at Turf Moor?
Yeah, I
See,
think it was
see, they had
At
2-0
Turf
win.
Moor, we beat them 2-0.
It
Yes.
was really, really.
Fort
really
Turf
good.
Moor last year. It was very.
Yeah,
Yes.
that whole game
But
Burnley didn't have a shot on
The
target.
converse of that was that they only won one game away from home.
Yeah, they
and
they
that
just
was in
relied on home
April,
all
I
season.
think. So if they do that again, they're going to get relegated. And yeah, I have them 18th.
I also have them 18th.
I was tossing up between Brighton and Burnley for 19th place. But, like, given the signings that Brighton have made this
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
they look like they might, like, scrape through.
They have the ambition at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least finish lower to mid-table,
Yeah.
low mid-table.
Yeah.
So do we all have Burnley, Brighton, and Huddersfield in whatever order is the bottom three?
I've got a different team in 19th.
Who do you have?
I have Swansea.
I have
Yeah.
Swansea in
I think
18th.
I've got them in.
I think it depends, obviously, on whether they keep
They
Sigurdsson
lost a
and
shitload
Llorente.
of players.
Even with Sigurdsson last year, they were still shit.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Like
if they lose him.
if they lose him, they're gone. 100%
Didn't
gone.
I think they made one good signing.
They've got
the
Tammy Abraham on loan from Chelsea,
That
and
was
he
a
scored a
good
shitload of goals in the Championship last year.
They brought in
Another one
Roque
on loan from
Mesa
Chelsea.
from
Oh,
Las
yeah.
Palmas.
Yeah,
Las
he's
Palmas.
meant to be good too.
Uh,
Yeah.
But apart
Roque
from that,
Mesa.
Look, they're just probably happy that they don't have Bob Bradley coaching there anymore.
Yeah.
'Cause what was it? Who did they play where it was like 5-4 or 6-5 or
Crystal
something?
Crystal Palace.
That was Pardew still there, or was that Big Sam? That game was nuts.
Not sure.
I think
I
it might have
can't
been
even-
Guardiola.
Who ended up winning that? Was it?
I think it was
Swansea.
Swansea won that
Swansea.
5-4 or
at
something
Swansea,
really
yeah.
stupid like that. But
Don't you love it when those games are fucking 2:30 in the morning? It's like, oh yeah, really glad I missed
Yeah, I'm keen for all the early mornings.
I'm trying to
Not
find-
really.
Yeah, here we go. So they beat Palace 5-4. Llorente scored 2 goals in injury time, 91st and 93rd minute.
Yeah, because it was like seesawing. The lead went back and forth.
How
It's
good
crazy.
was Jack Hawk's own goal, though?
Not as good. Do you remember? Was it Virginie, the one from
Oh, the
Sunderland, at
Argentinian.
Southampton, where the ball just comes over? It's like 20 yards out, sort of straight in front. He's fucking smashes this defensive volley right in the corner. Watch it.
was it like-
Santiago Virginie, Sunderland.
Was like Kondogbia's against Chelsea this
Oh,
preseason.
that was
That's
a
goal,
good
the
one.
goal of the
Quality.
season. That'll get into the
Puskas.
Puskas for goal of the season for sure. I don't know what he was thinking there. You got Handanovic. Was it Handanovic in goals? Going, what
Might have
the
been.
fuck? Oh shit, it's in. But yeah, I think we can all. I think we've all got Huddersfield last.
Yeah,
Like I've got Burnley 19th.
So you're
Ashneel's.
Brighton's
I'm tossing up between
Yes.
Burnley and Brighton.
Who's-
But I think Burnley.
My bottom three goes Huddersfield, Swansea, Burnley, and then I've got Brighton just
Right.
making it.
And that's my 18th. I've got written here Swansea/Brighton just because I'm not sure. Brighton have shown that ambition.
And Swansea
They've gone
showed
and made
opposite.
some signings. Swansea
Like
they've
they've-
tried.
They've had like a Middlesbrough type signing spree. So like they've gotten players that can improve their team, but it's how they apply the management and how the players fit into the club. They have a right proper lad from PSV Eindhoven.
It might be that, as it was with Middlesbrough, that they're going to rely on like Knockout as their creative player because
Isn't
that,
He
that's
was
probably where they
Championship
struggle.
Player of the season, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because that's where the promoted teams tend to struggle if they don't already have it already. Like that level of chance creation
Mm.
that you can't sort of get away with in the Premier League that you might in the Championship. But yeah.
Okay, so we've sort of talked about who we think's going to finish down those bottom places, and there's I think there's a little bit tossing in between a few teams for that last spot. Now we're going to jump up to the big boys.
The big boys.
Plus
7.
Plus 7 to we all have as Everton, I think.
Except
Yeah.
for
I
Tyler.
don't. Yeah.
You don't?
I've got them 8th.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
and your
That's-
7th is?
West Ham.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
can-
Interesting choice.
I just
Didn't
feel
watch them in pre-season, but based on their signings
Yeah.
purely, which are
I just feel like
bad.
they'll find a way to fuck it up. Not relegation.
So
Fuck it up, but
the ones they brought in are Zabaleta on a free, Joe Hart's on loan, Arnautovic from Stoke, Chicharito.
the only
Little
one
bit.
of those
Mm.
that I don't have an asterisk against is Chicharito. He'll be good. Arnautovic, if he wants to be, he'll be good.
If he's not lazy.
If he feels like it.
Joe Hart could be anything. Who's the other one?
Zabaleta.
I think Zabaleta's washed up. But it's better than no one, which is what they had last season.
The problem for them is going to be, and as has been the problem every time they've signed a striker is they didn't get any service.
Yeah.
And that was I watched
Lanzini's
part of
Lanzini is on the way up.
and that's one thing they've got going for them is Lanzini has been playing very, very well in that position. I think that was vacated by Payet, where he was sort of playing in behind whoever was in front of him. But now that
if he gets injured.
if he gets in, now they've got a decent. Well, I've got a striker that's played in the Premier League before, knows how to handle themselves in that league.
Coach for it as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to make me sad to see him walk out in a West Ham jersey the first game of the season at Old Trafford. And if he scores, I'm probably going to cry.
He is coming off a good season for Leverkusen too, so
He's proven himself.
The thing that does worry me though is I watched the West Ham game against Man City because it was on. I found a link for it on YouTube.
They're capable of being properly shit.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. Joe Hart made an error that led to a goal.
Village.
They're defending. I don't know why they thought signing Jose Fonte was a good idea.
Who?
Fonte.
Yeah.
Why?
The one Southampton player that Liverpool didn't go for.
Maybe that should tell you something.
What?
Well, we only signed the good ones. Takes the love.
You didn't take Shaw.
That's true.
But
Who's
they
the
were
love?
probably just rubbish against City.
Several
there's
games
no-
last season. I think I think they got.
Didn't they get
beaten
West
9-1.
Brom put 4 past them in one game?
they were very
Oh, yeah, they did
depleted
so.
player-wise because they had a lot of
Chelsea
injuries.
came
Because
But it's also just the organisation and sort of the level of spirit that you don't get beaten like that if you're probably. I don't think Burnley ever got beaten like that because they've got the organisation, but they've also got like that teamwork and willing. Whereas West Ham, when it went to shit, it seemed like a lot of the players there just down tools when it's.
Well, they lost 4-0 to your mob
Yep.
last round. Arsenal put 3 past them.
I think twice.
Burnley beat them 3-2.
we also beat them 5-1
Yes.
later in the season or something like that.
Yeah.
5 something.
We beat them
at
2-0.
the
At
London
London.
Stadium. I'm pretty sure City.
Yeah, 5-1.
City scored 4 at least against them twice last
We
season.
put 4 past them
It's like
in the League Cup.
Southampton beat them 3-0. West Brom beat
So they
them
can't
4-2.
It's like
Watford beat them 4-2.
Although one thing I will say for them this season is that the whole London Stadium thing, I think people aren't gonna care. I mean, it's not gonna be as much of a thing. Eventually, they're just gonna get used to it.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, if they can find a way to sell it out, then maybe they'll sort of be on the up. But that shouldn't be as much of an issue this season.
Okay.
So you've got Everton.
We've all
Everyone
got
else has
Everton
seventh.
7th. And I think West Ham will finish just behind them in 8th.
Probably.
I think.
Or
Right,
thereabouts.
so everyone say your top 6 in order, Ben.
Okay, working from Everton, then Tyler. I've got Arsenal in 6th, Spurs in 5th, Liverpool in 4th, Chelsea 3rd, United 2nd, and City up top.
Fucking oath.
And I thought I was an optimist.
Ashneel.
Given our recent discussions in that first hour of the pod, I'm tempted to move Chelsea and Spurs up because I reckon they might come crashing out of Europe just based on lack of squad depth as it is. So they might do better in the league. But currently, what I have so far is Spurs in 6th because, I mean, no signings whatsoever speaks for itself. Chelsea in 5th. I just think they're going to be weak up front, especially with Murata not playing up to scratch. Although it has been pre-season, so he'll work into it. In 4th, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I've had like a bit of trouble rearranging United, Poole, and Arsenal. Because I mean, if Poole can keep the fit squad, they'll finish high up there.
Jim's shaking his head.
If Arsenal pulls their finger out of their arse, they can finish up there.
Not likely.
And if
It'll
United
stay up there.
and if United can finish, they'll be up there. So like, really, it just
So
depends.
that means you're not coming to the peak then.
Yeah, exactly. And City in 1st.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep. Tyler, what do you reckon?
I've got Tottenham in 6th. Same as Ashneel. They haven't brought anyone in. They've lost Walker. They're a stadium away basically all year. I've put Liverpool in 5th, but if they sign one of their 2 big transfer saga players,
Van Dijk or Van Dijk?
I think if they get Cater or Van Dijk, they will be in the top 4. But for now, I'm going 5th. I've got United in 4th currently. I also had a lot of trouble 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I've put Arsenal 3rd. I'm being optimist. I realistically, I think we're going to go back to the joke of being 4th. I've got Chelsea in second, although I think they will drop out of Europe early, and that's why I think they're.
And Conte
Yeah.
doesn't have a good record in Europe. I'm pretty sure Juve dropped out of the Champions League group stage a few times.
And then City taking the league.
Yeah. I think this season it will be easier to sort of group sections of the table. I think there's 3 title challenges. I have Manchester City on top, Manchester United second, and Chelsea third. Maybe rearrange Chelsea and Manchester United. I think Chelsea, they were that good last season. They can't be underestimated, I don't think. And if they drop out of Europe, I think they are really challenging whoever else is going for the title. Those 3 I think are the only 3 that can challenge. Then Arsenal, Tottenham and Liverpool going for 4th. I have it in that order. Arsenal 4th, Tottenham 5th, Liverpool 6th.
Ooh.
I don't know if I can
Setting
see...
the bar low so you can be happy at the end.
Surely you've forgotten you've got Degsy.
Yeah, well, look, Degsy is the X factor.
I played Degsy as a striker.
He's going to be their new major signing. They're going to tie him down to another 10-year contract. And he's
That's
just going to
true.
be there until he just carks it.
That's the truth.
Oh.
But
I'm interested in
Arsenal,
why you're so.
It's
I
Jim.
think-
It's
I think-
Jim.
It's Jim.
I
Do you not know Jim?
I really think I'm not Tim. I really think if we come 6th, there'll be a European run involved in that. But I also because I underrate Tottenham every season, and they come second. So this is me giving them their due.
I think this is the season to underrate them.
Yeah. And Arsenal, I think Arsenal need Champions League. So I think that's going to happen. Everton out on their own again in 7th. Then you can, I think it's easier because last season after that there was probably 6 points separating like the 9th or 10th to relegation. So I think this season you've got a few teams who've made good pickups who will be pushing for top half and will be pretty much safe. So I've got West Ham 8th, Leicester 9th, Watford 10th, Bournemouth 11th and Palace 12th. Then I've got a few who have sort of lost players and are just a bit shitty, but they should be fine. Southampton 13th, West Brom 14th and Stoke 15th.
West Brom will be fine because they've got
Yeah,
Lewis there who just plays 26 defenders and they just.
because
I
they
think they'll
get to 40 points there.
I think they'll get found out with the everyone using the 3 at the back with the wingers this time around.
Yeah.
He'll just play 8 defenders then.
Yeah.
Play 8 at the back.
And that was the thing. They got to 40 points. They were 8th. They were like 8th by miles. And then I'm pretty sure they ended up outside the top half.
I thought they finished top half in the
I
end.
think
Maybe
they finished weaker than they started.
Like
They finished
really
in 10th.
struggled.
But you have a look at 10th. There is between 10th and 17th. There was only 5 points.
And they were, I think they had 10 points on 9th at one stage. But yeah, so I think they'll be fine and then fall back into that group. Stoke I think are going to sack Hughes this season because they go 9th and 9th, and obviously that's probably par or doing well. Then last season with Shaqiri and Arnautovic just downing tools, sort of, they don't really have anyone else. And they started the season terribly. I remember they shipped a lot of goals. But so yeah, I think they're gonna have to sort of rebuild. And then the relegation fight, I have Swansea 16th, Newcastle 17th, Burnley 18th, Brighton 19th, Huddersfield at the bottom.
Where does everyone else have Newcastle? I've got them 16th.
I didn't give them a spot. They'll be 1 or 2. I reckon 1 to 3 above the bottom.
I've got them 2 places
no
above
higher than like
relegation.
15th.
I'll put them in the same category as Brighton.
Yeah.
Like a couple of places above relegation.
Yeah.
Well, we'll know if they're doing badly because True Geordie will just be losing his shit and just having these rage videos, which I have missed a little bit because Newcastle did so well last year.
Yeah.
It's alright, you still have Arsenal Fan TV.
That's right.
Look, maybe we can go down to the championship for a year, just win a title, get that feeling back, you know.
Have a domestic title in the Premier League era.
Yeah.
It's something. It's something. Okay, now that we've had a look at that, we've actually got a round of football this weekend to look at.
We do.
Believe it or not, there are actually games. Jim's very excited because it means he gets to do his tipping.
Yes.
And he gets to look at his spreadsheets now for another 12 months, which is just marvellous.
Been looking forward to it.
I believe everyone but Ashneel is doing tipping this
I think
year
so.
in this group.
There's 53 people so far.
53
That's a lot
people.
of money
That
to
is
win.
Yeah,
a lot of money. That's
everyone-
actually if you're not part of the I'm assuming most of you would be part of the QT football group. Jim been running the tipping competition now for a couple of years. With this year he's added an optional cash payment if you wanted to put wager some money, $10. And I believe at the end of the season, depending on how much money he's got, the winner of the tipping competition will be getting a Premier League jersey of their choice.
Yeah, or even I think one of the supporters is he supports Hull. So look, if you want a Hull jersey,
If you want a Hull jersey,
yeah, the winner
We'll just give you a Liverpool Andy Robertson.
Who would love? Oh no, I really
Or
hope.
a
I
loss
really
to
hope
the-
a Saints fan gets it. I'll just stick like Mane, Lallana.
but no, that's a very, very exciting initiative
Yeah.
this year. And I think it's good to see lots of people getting stuck in and having a go, because I'm always welcome to have more competition, because we don't want Gavin and Jim finishing at the top again. I'm sick of that.
Look,
That needs
I don't
Cameron
know how
won,
it
didn't
happened.
he?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Did Gavin win?
Announcement.
No, Cameron did.
We might as well announce it over here. Better place than ever. I think Cameron finished with 297 points. That's Cameron marker. Claim your prize.
Liverpool have to win something every now and then.
Yeah. Look, even I came third. And the season before I came
Oh,
properly
I had
last.
what did you finish?
Fourth.
fifth.
I think I
Fifth,
finished.
fifth.
Did I finish level or just behind? I think myself and Duncan
Just
finished
behind.
level together, just behind Tyler.
Yeah.
There.
And that was the first time I'd done it.
I
I'd never
started-
done a tipping before.
Yeah, that was
6 out
my
of 30. That's
That was
pretty
my
good.
first year of tipping. I started off really well, but then the weight of carrying Ben
Brisky,
Brisky on my back,
You were,
The
you were properly Arsenal. I was really glad.
the
to
pressure
see.
got to me. I was like,
He cracked. He couldn't handle it. Shout out to Brisky for being a lazy
It's
bastard.
crazy
Yeah, Canberra.
watching people and just like personifying clubs so well.
except for Cameron.
Yeah, that's true.
He
Cam-
did not do a Liverpool incoming first.
But yeah, so yeah, get amongst it, and I will put the results for last year out next coming days.
Okay, now I don't know if any of you boys have actually done your tips yet.
I have not.
I've got mine written down on a piece of paper here.
All right.
I can do some rough. I've got the fixtures. I'll do roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got
Um,
fixtures up.
The first game we've got Arsenal versus Leicester, which I believe Australian time is Saturday morning. It's a Friday night
It's a
kickoff.
4:45 kickoff.
Yeah.
On Saturday morning.
Set your
Yeah.
alarm,
Enjoy
Tyler.
time.
Set your alarm, mate. So
We
I'll-
always get the 5 a.m. kickoffs, and I'm sick of it. It's the worst
Yeah.
time.
It
Um,
really is.
We'll start with you, Tyler, because it's your team. What are you going? What's your prediction?
Oh, I think maybe a 2-0 because there's no Sanchez, there's possibly no Ozil, possibly no Rambo, and Koscielny's got his ban, so it's a
But I mean,
tough
you
start.
have like
I
a
think-
sweaty, so
Yeah, I think I'd go with a 2-0.
I reckon 2-1.
I
I think it'll be a bit of a sweaty bum. Early season, no one's really ready. And Arsenal. Arsenal
Yeah,
are
they sort
ready.
of made a couple of decent signings as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
I think
Not
I've got
great. but
Iheanacho
decent.
and Vardy.
Vardy, Mahrez, and
Ibora.
Kelechi up front is.
Vicente Ibora.
See, look,
Yeah,
I've
sure.
got 3-1, but that's only because I think I've got all too many 2-1s already. I've got 1, 2, 3. I've already got 4. So I've got Arsenal winning 3-1 first game of the season at home. It's not, I don't think it'll be as exciting as their game against Liverpool, which was just nuts.
4-3, wasn't
4-3. Coutinho banked in one from range.
Look, if anyone wants the minutes 45 to 60 from that game,
Jim's got that saved in his
I-
special folder on his computer at home. So if you want that, just
Yeah,
hit Jim
that
up and he'll happily.
I
supply
literally
it.
went for a piss that night, and I came back and I was like, "What's going on?"
That was a
Right.
bit of a long piss.
Gosh. Then we've got Jim's team. We got Watford playing against Liverpool.
9:30.
9:30. Lucky.
That's a good game.
That's a
What a
nice
kickoff.
early kickoff for Jimbo. Not that he goes to bed that early anyway. But what are we thinking, Jim?
At Vicarage Road.
It's really nice that in the last week Watford have made 2 really good signings. I'm just like, no, they're not going to be fit. And I
Is
was like,
Emre Can going to pull out another overhead goal?
look, I wouldn't say no. Again, another narrow with like a 2-1.
I think I've got 2-1 as well.
We just really need to win that.
To Watford.
I've actually tipped Liverpool to clarify 2-1.
Yeah. I think we should, and I think we really need to. Even though Hoffenheim, Klopp might not say otherwise, but Hoffenheim really should be the focus because you cannot lose that playoff.
I think I'd go a 3-1 to Liverpool.
Look, I'll take it.
Jim very happy to take the goals. Ashneel, any?
Look, I think it's going to be a straightforward Liverpool win, just because.
Nothing straightforward about Liverpool.
That's true.
Yeah, look, probs.
Look, and that West Ham game at the end of last season, I was waiting until 3-0 to feel safe, and even then, it's like,
Just the
you never know when
the
a
eternal
Kristen Bull.
pessimist that is Jim. Everyone.
Look, every season there'll be a Kristen Bull or a Bournemouth away, 3-goal turnaround.
All that time that Liverpool beat AC Milan in the Champions League final. Duncan, do you remember that one?
Yeah, before
Yeah.
Rector made on the group chat.
Okay, now moving on before Jim gets too excited. Chelsea versus Burnley at Stamford Bridge.
That seems pretty simple. To me.
I've got 4-0 Chelsea. I think it's
I
going to
don't
be.
think they'll get up to 4.
I
But
think it could get bad.
I'd go a 3-0 Chelsea.
2-0.
I'd say 2-0 if
I
I,
don't
was
think-
doing tipping.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
Oh, actually, yeah, they don't have Hazard.
No Hazard.
No Costa. Morata's new.
Don't make me doubt myself.
I think I'm going to go back down to a 2-0 for that.
I think I've changed mine to a 3-0. Because you're all making
They just-
me
I
doubt
think it's,
myself.
I
But I
think it's
think,
going to be 2-0 Burnley.
but I think,
They like Craig.
are we all going to accept that Chelsea are going to win that one? Are we all
Yeah,
happy with that? Okay. Crystal Palace versus Huddersfield. Palace at home for this one.
I'm actually tempted to say 1-1 draw, even though I'm not doing the tipping comp.
I've got 2-1 Palace. I don't think there's going to be a whole heap in it, just because I haven't seen Frank de Boer coach before.
I don't really
Had
rate.
Was
He had a rough time at Inter Milan. Did he got like 2? He got
But-
no games at Inter Milan before that turfed him.
Was he Ajax manager last year?
No,
No?
he was into
No.
and then he got sacked.
Ajax
Ah.
manager has now.
I mean,
Pep
Inter sacked
Bosz is
how
now
many
managing
managers, though?
Dortmund.
Okay.
Sorry?
Intersect how many managers though?
Yeah.
Too many, but
I don't rate him. I don't know. I mean, he'll be all right.
They've had a
But
relatively quiet.
Palace should be a top half team, and they should have been a
I
top
mean, they've
half
only
team
made,
for
like,
at
what,
least.
Two signings: Loftus-Cheek on loan and Riederwald off from,
Riederwald.
Oh, Riederwald.
from Ajax.
and then that'd be De Boer's Dutch
Yeah.
Dutch knowledge coming in there. Riederwald's been one of those kind of football manager FIFA career mode wonder kids. That's what you sort of sign and he becomes, grows well towards the end. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how quickly he takes to the Premier League. That's a whole different beast.
I don't
coming
have any
from the
idea
Dutch
with
league.
this game. I
and,
really
and
don't.
old Steve's
I
gone.
might look.
Mandanda.
Fuck. I'll give Huddersfield something because I think
Aaron Moy free kick from 40 yards
Mate, 50 yards. We know it from kickoff.
from kickoff, just roasted in. But no, I've got 2-1 Palace.
I'd agree with that.
I'm gonna be a dickhead. Go. I don't know. One really controversial 1-1 draw.
Oh, you're a dickhead.
That's what I said.
How dare you even think that? Yeah, but I think we all agree we're not too sure, but it will be close. Everton Stoke at Goodison Park. I've got 2-0 Everton just because Stoke look bang average as usual, and Everton have made a shitload of good signings. Whether they gel together or not straight away or not, Everton have got a
That's-
reasonably good record at home.
That's what I think though, because they've been playing those Europa League qualifiers against Rizombarok. They only won 1-0.
Who?
Exactly.
They only won 1-0 both times, and apparently they were very disjointed. So I think they'll win, but not a lot of goals.
I just don't think Stoke are good enough to beat
Me
them.
too.
I think they might.
2-0.
I think they might score a goal, but that's probably
I think
asking a little bit too much of them.
I'll go a score draw.
You reckon what, like a 1-1, 2-1?
1-1 or a 2-2.
I think it might even go 2-1 Everton. That's
Yeah.
my 2 cents.
I also just don't
Beautiful.
like Everton.
Now we've got another really
You sound like
interesting,
a Liverpool fan.
really interesting game that, again, might be hard to pick. Southampton against Swansea at St Mary's.
We're all assuming Van Dijk's not going to be featuring in that one.
I think that's a fair assumption to make.
No, mate, he'll start up top.
I think the big thing that Southampton have got going for them is that they signed this Italian bloke called Gabbiadini
Oh,
in the
he's-
last year, and he took to the Premier League like a fish to water.
And then he got injured.
And then he
then
got
he came back
He
and he
should
did
have
alright.
scored a hat trick against us in the League Cup final, but let's not talk about that. We
And
won
I
3-2.
think he is going to be the one probably propping them up until he goes to Liverpool next season.
And they've just signed that Juventus.
The
young-
Lamina.
yeah,
Lamina.
Could be useful.
he's a good player. So.
I've got Southampton winning this one 2-1.
What
I-
you reckon is Siggy free kick in like the dying minutes?
Look, I don't
Will
know.
he play? Because he didn't go on tour.
He didn't go on tour, no.
Is he
really weird situation. I don't know why they're not getting it done.
I
anymore.
took him out of my fantasy team just
Is this
because of
yeah.
that.
your fee?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
apparently, was it Everton that are really after him?
Yes.
That's-
but
Well, they're the only ones that have sort of
Apparently.
concrete and made
Leicester
a bid.
wanted bid 40 million, but I don't think they're going to go higher than that.
I think if Barkley goes, Everton might really up that chase.
If Barkley goes, Everton will
If
up.
Barkley-
Which
three
is-
If
points.
Barkley
said
goes,
they will.
he will probably be going to Spurs, which
Yeah.
will be their first signing of the season.
Oh,
And
it's
and
just
everybody
about
will
the same.
rejoice.
It's
And
kind
if
of
that
something they
doesn't
don't need.
consign them to sixth, then Everton will.
It's kind of something Spurs don't need.
Unless you want to play
A- a-
3
Yeah,
a
another
central
attacking
attacking midfielder. You got
They need
Dele
a
Alli.
Yeah, central attacking midfielders, Manchester United, yes.
Yeah.
We have a few of them.
Yeah.
We play them out in the wing. So,
Yeah, so Saints win.
yeah.
Saints
I've got
win.
Saints win
Saints
just.
win
Next
2-1.
one. Game of the round. West Brom against Bournemouth. No,
Oof.
not really.
At the Hawthorns.
At the Hawthorns.
Nil all.
I've gone 1-1. Just because it's Pulis and it's and Bournemouth have made some, actually I think they've made some very clever additions. They've got obviously
Defoe and Ake
they've
come
got
to mind.
Defoe, who's a proven he scored double digits in a team that got relegated by a long shot last year. Without him, they probably wouldn't have won a game, I'd say. Again, they've got Ake, who's a very handy player in defence. They've got Begovic, who's a very good Premier League goalkeeper.
What's Conor Mahoney like? Anyone?
Anyone watch
Blackburn.
Rovers that much?
Blackburn
Blackburn,
Rovers, they
yeah.
did Blackburn get relegated to League One.
More.
Sounds good.
I
But
just think
I
West
just-
Brom start well. It's at West Brom. I think they'll win it actually.
You reckon they'll win?
One-
That's
one
the
win.
only reason I didn't have West. That's the only reason I've gone a 1-1. Is just because I'm like, well, I don't think Bournemouth will win, but I don't think West Brom will win either.
I think I might go a score draw as well. A 1-1 or a 2-2 again.
I'll go scoreless. It's Tony Pulis.
0-0 for Ashneel. Jim thinks West Brom will win at home.
1-0.
1-0. Brighton Hove Albion, the new boys, up against Man City.
That's a nice first game for them.
That's
I
rough.
reckon
I don't think this
Brighton 10, City 0.
I don't think this is going to end well for Brighton. I
No.
don't think it's going
Trying
to.
to think of
I
how
think
many
it's-
City.
I think it's either a 4-1 or something.
I've got
like that.
4-1 written on my piece of
Yeah.
paper.
I reckon 3-0, 4-0.
Yeah.
I don't think Brighton will score.
I want to say 3-0, but I don't know if City will go easy on it.
I don't
Why
Why
think
would you
they
go
will.
easy on them?
Yeah.
Start
Yeah,
the season
'cause-
with
Why?
they're
First
gonna
game
lay
of the
down a
season.
marker.
build up the confidence, get your goal difference up there right early.
But I'm just saying clean sheet as well. If City go to 4, 5, 6, there is a possibility Brighton get one.
What do you reckon?
Uh,
Aguero 5?
I'll say,
Oh wait,
I'll
this is
say
in
3-0
Newcastle.
because I know how tipping works.
I'm gonna go.
You know how tipping works, and if you've got a fantasy league team, I might be looking to make a Man City player your captain this week.
He
That's not a bad
rotates though.
idea.
I don't have any
I,
City
what
players.
about KDB?
Yeah,
I don't know. Depends.
He's a
And-
usual starter. He's one of the more
he costs
See,
2
I wouldn't
million.
put my bets on a City striker.
because
Because
those two are
Gabriel
going to be.
Jesus and Aguero, you don't know who's going to start.
Yeah,
May- Maybe the only one because but their defense is shit. I would have said a centre back because I don't have many, but their defense is
John
shit.
Stones.
John, John Stones triple captain.
Get
You
on.
heard it here first. I think we all agree that Man City should win that one comfortably. Newcastle, another one of the new boys coming up against Tottenham at St James's Park.
I reckon that might be.
This-
2-1
I reckon this-
Spurs.
I reckon Spurs will win, but I don't think they'll win easy. I reckon it's going to be a bit closer than a lot of people think it
I
might
think
be.
that'll be a good game to watch.
I've got 2-1 to Spurs winning away.
Newcastle should score, just given Spurs' injury list.
Dwight
Right.
Gale is in doubt. I think he's
Shit, what are they gonna do?
well on the
Oh,
fantasy
no.
Premier League. He's 75% chance of playing.
How
so-
much does he cost?
I think I've
enough.
got him on the bench at the moment. It's like
I think I've got Christian Atsu.
7.
I've got
There's no
Hosselu
fucking
from
value.
5.5.
Bargain.
There is no value for a cheap striker on fantasy.
Nah.
I'm just
the,
like,
the little P is like 7.
Yes,
That-
I think
You
I've
have
got
to
Rondon.
go-
I've got Rondon on my bench. I think.
but you have to go
Actually.
up to 7. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's good value. You have to go up to 7 to get a good backup striker. So
Yeah,
I'm
like-
like, fuck it.
Yeah. See, I've got
I have-
Rondon, Gabbiadini, and Lukaku.
I have
Oh,
Gabby
4.5 million. Colin, I think it's Colin Quainer from
Who?
Huddersfield. Yeah, he got like 5 minutes in the playoff.
So you really
final,
gave
so I'm
up
like,
on
yep,
that one.
I did.
See, I've got Hosselu from Stoke, Lukaku, and Kane up top. I went for bulk strikers.
Yeah, he's kind of banking on the fact that whoever he's got is going to keep a clean sheet.
Yep.
Davies,
Come on.
will Davies get a run? He's a wing back, isn't he?
He will because Rose is
Because
injured.
Rose is injured, Trippier's injured, so he'll either
He'll get a run.
he'll have to get a run.
And I'm
out.
willing to sell him.
Cool.
Um,
My strikers at the moment are Firmino, Lacazette, and Gale's on the bench.
Like a sweaty.
it's pretty good.
I was tempted to put him in, but I'm just not sure how we'll do first couple of games this season.
Yes,
want to see
that's
how it
why
goes.
I haven't got any Everton players
I've put,
because they've got a rough start. I think they're
Yeah.
placing
Same with
playing
Chelsea,
4
though.
of the top 6.
Uh-huh.
I've put full faith in Lacazette. He's my captain.
I've got Lukaku as my captain.
De
I think.
Bruyne is mine.
I've got
Kane.
De Bruyne and Eriksen in the
But,
midfield.
I've got
Kane's
Pogba,
not-
De Bruyne, and Eriksen.
Yeah.
I've gone for both.
Yeah, just like all the fantasy right now.
all right. To get back on track a little bit, I've
And
got
then-
spot Tottenham 2-1.
Something like
2-0.
that.
2-0.
I think they'll do it.
I'll go
pretty
2-1.
2-1.
Because with Tottenham's defence, I reckon Newcastle might sneak one past.
You reckon they'll sneak one past? Is
I reckon.
Toby back?
Yeah, it would
Toby and Vertonghen
Vertonghen.
should be starting.
I mean,
But
Spurs
it's-
have had some good games in pre-season. I think they beat PSG 4-2.
I reckon
They beat Juve.
If
Yes.
Newcastle can use their width quite well, I
Because
reckon Spurs
that's
are
the things that Newcastle have got. I think their strongest point is their width because they've got
Matt
Matt Ritchie
Ritchie
on that right hand side, and I'm assuming Atsu's going to
Mitrovic.
start him. Mitrovic through the middle. Atsu will probably start on that left hand side, and that I reckon could cause Eric Dier a problem or two if he's playing at that right back spot because Eric Dier moves about as quickly as I do.
You got-
Which, if anybody's seen me run, is not very
And
fast.
he's still got him behind James Milner.
And they got John Joe Shelby sitting behind that.
So that
I
that
think
could be an
They're
area.
not the
of-
worst
I
squad.
think they're gonna have
to
a
be fair.
yeah. I think they're gonna have a shit first 2 games and then they're just gonna spend.
Well, I hope
that-
that I've got Richie in my fantasy too.
I used to
Um,
have Richie, and I took an arrow to the knee.
So I think we've all agreed Spurs just against Newcastle. Last game of the round, myself and Ashneel.
Oh,
Manchester United are hosting West
No,
Ham.
just you. Because you're going to the pig.
No, I won't be going to the pig for that one. It's like at 2 o'clock on a Monday morning.
1
1
a.m.
a.m.
Bugger that.
Yeah.
I've got United 2-0.
Yeah, maybe more. I don't know.
I don't know. I want to be. It's Old Trafford. There's like it's cursed at the
Yeah,
I
moment,
reckon.
Yeah, 2-0.
I reckon West Ham might score. I reckon Chikorita will get his goal at
Oh.
Old Trafford.
and I'll be in tears.
I'm going to go out there and say 3-2
Ooh.
to United.
Ooh,
This be the game of the round.
you reckon?
See, I don't
Yeah,
think our
yeah, I
defence
can
will be
see that.
that leaky, but at the same time, never know.
Leaky defense. Chris Smalling pick one.
Lindelof as well.
I
Just-
don't know.
just
I don't-
based on
well, depends
pre-season.
depends what formation we go with. That's the thing. Did we play a 3 at the back
We
against?
played 3 at the back against Real Madrid.
I read that was going to be an option though, and not just like more often you're going to play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1.
I think my guess it'll be a 4-3-3. You'll
Easily
have
gonna have-
Dave, obviously,
Mhm.
Valencia, Bailey. I reckon Smalling.
You reckon Smalling?
I reckon Smalling. I don't think he'll shove Lindelof
Where's
straight in
Blind at? Is he
there
injured?
on the bench.
Yeah.
Damian's confirmed going to be,
He'll be our left
for
back,
the
but-
starting left back for the season. If you're looking for a United defender in your fantasy team, probably Damian.
Just for future reference, you don't want to pick a United defender in your fantasy team, unless.
Or a Liverpool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Look, do you want negative points?
It's
But
possible.
what else were we thinking regarding that game? Like obviously Tyler's picked 3-2. I've gone 2-0.
Pretty comfortable.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I'd
I think
United
United
win for
will
sure.
sort of start laying markers down early. This might be one of the games. Though.
Maybe. Who knows? Probably end up 1-1, like we had last year.
Look, I won't be going to the pigs, so don't put your bets on it just yet.
No. Does anyone else have anything else to discuss before I get rid of you all and tell you to go away?
FSG, fuck off.
I think we've already covered that.
Yeah, that
Tyler,
No, I'm just waiting for deadline day, really.
aren't we all? Ashley,
Yeah, nothing from me.
I think we're sick of all these Liverpool rumours, so we just want it to be done.
So am I, to be honest. Just like if you're gonna go to Chelsea VVD, just fucking do it.
We wouldn't hear about it if it wasn't for you, so.
Yeah, look, I mean, isn't everyone else sick of it? Aren't Chelsea sick of it?
I think
Saints?
everyone's sick of the transfer window
Just
already,
fucking sort it.
except for
Yeah.
teams that
Except for
haven't.
Spurs.
Except for Spurs,
Yeah.
their transfer window hasn't started yet, so they're like, "Hey, Levy, what are you doing?" Just poke him with a stick, Levy. What are you doing? That's our time up, I think, for this week. All the best with your tips for those who are participating. I hope you've thought about it and
All your best for
See yous
fantasy
next
as
time.
well.
all your best for Fantasy League. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Ashneel. Thank
Cheers.
you, Jim. We'll see you whenever we decide to come back and yammer on again.
Ciao.